In a world facing a developmental deficit exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic, the work of the GISD Alliance is more important than ever as they seek to attract and help direct capital in ways that make a positive contribution to sustainable development.
Sadly, the pandemic has set us back as a globe in meeting the 2030 agenda, but it's also made crystal clear why the work of the GISD is more important than ever.
The Alliance has 5 key focus areas over the next 2 years: developing solutions to scale up SDG investments, such as an integrated investment platform with a focus on developing countries, advancing a set of core industry-specific SDG reporting metrics, shifting incentives along the investment chain towards longer-term sustainable outcomes, coordinating GISD actions with the financial system and policy-making bodies, while also coordinating actions with the G20 and the G7.
We're in an embryonic stage. We're about to start engaging with the G20, the G7, COP26 and other groupings. A part of that will be also engaging with credit rating agencies to publish scenario analyses based on those transition pathways that I mentioned, and to extend time horizons of their assessment to combat short-termism and to encourage a long-term focus.
While COVID bonds have also emerged as a key financing tool, particularly as countries seek to build back better, be that in healthcare or the environment.
How these bonds work is that this would be a vehicle that public or private sector or a coalition of the two could use to raise funds through debt financing for sustainable means. There are various different types of bonds that one might raise. A blue bond would be used to raise funds for water initiatives to ensure water, for example, is piped to rural areas. A green bond would be raised for environmentally friendly bonds, initiatives, such as those relating to sustainable farming, for example. Sustainable and social bonds are really vehicles that are used to raise debt financing for sustainable or for social initiatives.
The United Nations has welcomed the progress made by the group since its inception a year ago.
A year later, the need to mobilize greater resources for sustainable development is even more pressing, and the COVID-19 pandemic threatens existing development plans, including the decades of progress on poverty, on hunger, healthcare and education.
In this, the decade of action towards the 2030 deadline, financing remains a central tool to achieving those objectives, ones that are now further undermined by a global public health emergency that continues to shake the foundations of a sustainable future. Sherwin Bryce-Pease, SABC News, New York.